Hey, what is up, everybody? Dude, today we're talking about the Moto X and how it holds up in 2018. Now, it actually came out in 2013, and I remember having this phone around like 2015. I'm saying a lot of years right now, but I was like, dude, this phone is so cool, so amazing. I don't even know why I had it. I didn't even have it as my main phone. I was still rocking like a Nexus 4 at the time. And looking back at it now, and especially when I'm holding it right now, I really don't like how cheap it feels. It's mostly built out of plastic. So when you're holding it, it's like, oh my God, like this thing's about to break or something. And for a long time, I especially remember back in the day, this was noted as one of the best looking Android phones. Some people still like bring it up here and there, but it's really been phased out for a while. Now, feeling it and everything, like I said, it feels a bit dated for sure, but it does have an AMOLED screen, and that's one of the best characteristics of it. It's only 720p, but dude, it's still like an AMOLED screen, you know? There's a 10 megapixel camera on the back. It's the first time I've ever seen a 10 megapixel camera. They're usually 8 or 12. This one's like right in the middle. It's not that bad, but it's not too good either. It's a 5-year-old phone, you know, what do you expect? It'll take photos. They're pretty grainy, but I would prefer using something better, like obviously. The front camera is only 2 megapixels, and it's not that good either. I would rate the total camera about a 5 out of 10, maybe like a 4.7 out of 10. Turning it on, we have Android 5.1, which kind of runs pretty well on it. I'm pretty surprised. It's not blazing or anything, and it's a bit glitchy when scrolling around and stuff like that, but I honestly can't complain too much. There's a dual-core processor. It's clocked at 1.7 gigahertz. There's 2 gigabytes of RAM, which I was surprised. I thought there was only one. And there's an Adreno 320 GPU. It's not that bad overall. Gaming isn't too bad either. Heavier intensive games are a bit choppy, I'll admit it. But for almost a 5-year-old phone, like what do you expect, you know? Like, now the worst part about this phone is probably the battery life. It has a 2200 milliamp hour battery, but after all these years, and it's probably degraded like 1000 milliamps, so it's probably like a 1200 milliamp hour battery in there. It'll die about halfway through the day, probably earlier on my usage. I realized like throughout the years, my usage has gotten like more and more like higher, I guess. I don't know. So I use my phone a lot more than I used to. So I think it would die like way before halfway through the day. I guess you could replace it, but I really wouldn't recommend it, you know, like what's the point of it, you know? And another reason I would say not to replace it is because I can say that this phone is not worth it in 2018. Now, if you need a backup phone or a phone you need for like a couple days, then yeah, I mean, it's not, any phone will do you for a couple days. But for the longevity of it, like there's really no point in getting it. After all these years, for some reason, I don't know why, they're still selling for quite a bit of money on Amazon. And for me to tell you to get one would be like irresponsible on my part, because a lot of people do listen to me. If anything, I would recommend getting a Moto G Play. It doesn't have an AMOLED screen or anything, but I mean, it'll last you a bit longer. It's a bit newer than the Moto X is. I'll review one in a bit, like in a month or two, whenever I get my hands on it. This way I don't leave Motorola in the cold, because you know, they help me out a lot too. The Moto G Play isn't perfect either, but it's newer, and like I said, it'll hold you over until I tell you what else to buy. And that's pretty much it, guys. I'll leave a link to a Moto G Play in the description below. I actually bought a new website, and I'm working on it right now. I'll just tell you guys the name. It's called flawlessphone.com. It's a complete work in progress. I actually just ripped my other site, letsfindthat.com, and I just put it on this, and I'm actually working on it. Like it's pretty much just like a huge directory of, you know, finding the cheapest phone, finding the cheapest cases and stuff like that, to keeping your phone flawless. Visit flawlessphone.com, see what you like, see what you don't. You can tweet at me at Alpaca and tell me what you don't like about it. That's enough for the plug, though. Like I said, comment if you have any questions or disagree with me or agree with me. Just let me know. Check the links out in the description. Like I said, SoundCloud, everything is down there. But more importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys, and hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.